Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. Ukraine has entered a new phase of the war, with President Volodymyr Zelenskyy appointing General Mykhailo Drapatyi as commander-in-chief, while setting out a strategy focused on more offensive operations, military innovation, and deeper strikes behind Russian lines. Now, the leadership change comes as Russia and Ukraine continue to target each other's critical infrastructure, as well as the European Union, as it continues to deliberate on a new sanctions package against Moscow, and diplomatic contacts between Washington and Moscow resume. Joining us now is Oleksiy Goncharenko, Ukrainian MP from European Solidarity. Good to have you with us.
Hello.
So, we know more and more about the new commander-in-chief. Just give us quickly your sense of what Ukrainians think of him so far at this point in time, and also these new commands to strike behind Russian lines, to continue more innovation. How different is that from what Ukraine has been doing up until now?
General Drapatyi is a well-respected military commander, and a lot of people today have hopes for some changes for better, for improvement of management and of commanding of our troops. He is young, he is 43, he has nothing to do with the Soviet Union and Soviet military school. It's a new officer who started in Great Britain, who speaks English, who is really has a great record of operations. But we will see. We all understand that Commander-in-Chief is a very, very complicated position, a lot of challenges, situation is very challenging. But I hope that General Drapatyi will manage to tackle these challenges. A lot of is now in his hands.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of also, these new commands, instructions by President Zelenskyy, more strikes behind enemy lines, or rather deep into Russia, is this someone now who can carry that out, let's say, more than his predecessor?
I don't know. By the way, I want to say thank you to previous Chief Commander-in-Chief General Syrskyi too. It's this general also did a lot of several just operations he organized, like for example liberation of Kharkiv area in 2022, which I think will be in the war textbooks in military academies throughout the whole world. So I want to say thanks to him for what he did, and I hope that his a new commander-in-chief will go further. Yes, we need to make more strikes. We need to strike deeper and harder, but also we need to protect our own territory. Unfortunately, like for example, my native city Odessa is constantly attacked during the last 3 weeks. Probably the worst situation now is here for the moment, and we need to protect our skies, our people, and that is also a task for new commander-in-chief.
Mm-hmm. I know that you just mentioned your hometown of Odessa. Let's talk about also a little bit the Black Sea as well. Also, I think from this morning, we're hearing that there have been already new strikes by Ukraine into Russia, I think around various regions into Russia, oil refineries, that kind of infrastructure. Vorozhnev, Novoskoye, these attacks seem to be recent. Already perhaps looks like this new command is being followed. But also in the Black Sea, we've also heard that the Russians are limiting some of that time for their shipping out of one of the largest ports in the Black Sea. So tell us a bit how the Russians are, let's say, strategically adapting. Is Ukraine making some more successes here in the Black Sea?
Yeah, we have successes in Black Sea, that's true, but also we have problems in Black Sea. That's unfortunately also true. In reality, Russians stopped commercial navigation in the Black Sea now, again, like it was in the beginning of full-scale invasion, because they are attacking commercial vessels moving to the ports of Odessa and killing seamen, killing people who work in ports, And the consequences of this will be felt throughout the whole world because, for example, price of food is dependent from what's going on in the port of Odessa, because port of Odessa is the largest agricultural port in the world. And 400 million people in the world are dependent from calories from Ukrainian crops. It's not my estimation, it's estimation of United Nations. So if the situation will not be changed and the sea export of Ukrainian grain would be stopped, because in reality it is already stopped. And if it will not change, that will cause increase of prices in the world. And what is food prices? For richer countries, it's about inflation, but for poorer countries, it's about chaos and instability. And that's what we saw in 2022. So it is very dangerous, not just for Ukraine, not just for Black Sea area, but for the whole world. And we need concerted efforts from the international community in order to stop this Russian terror against commercial navigation.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned concerted efforts, with that I want to ask you as well, of those efforts, especially by the European Union, they are still, the member states are still deliberating about that recent and newest sanctions package, the 21st sanctions package, that did not get across the line yesterday. They're going to talk about it again today on Thursday. How key, just tell us and remind us a little bit, is that kind of support from the European Union? How key is this new sanctions package for the efforts that Ukraine is doing?
It is important, both symbolically, just to show that the Europe is still doing what can do. Because really, I want to tell you, from Odessa and from Ukraine, the country and the city which is on fire today, and just in the constant attack, it looks ridiculous that Europeans can't make a deal about these new sanctions. And it looks very disappointing. That's the minimum Europeans can do to protect Europe. So we don't ask Europeans to fight physically. We just ask to make steps to make it harder for Russia to finance this war and to prepare for their next attacks against Europe, not just against Ukraine, but against the whole Europe. And Europe is in some discussions, debates, and disputes. It's disappointing, I would like to tell you.
Mm-hmm. And you have traveled to various European cities. You've talked to a lot of the politicians. I just want to get your sense of, you said you're disappointed, but why do you think there is this holdup? What is the block right now? For many times it was Viktor Orban, who is no longer the leader of Hungary, but what do you think in your mind is the biggest block right now that this package cannot be agreed on?
We hear that the Bulgarian government had some questions to this package. Then new Hungarian government is not super supportive too. Now we're hearing that Greece doesn't want to stop operating with Russian liquefied gas, and so on. So I understand that every country tries to protect some interest, but all of this is a very small things. But these small things can seriously damage the big strategy and the big efforts. So I think it's a mistake.
Mm-hmm. I want to get your opinion on something else for a minute. I want to go back to domestic politics in Ukraine. We talk a lot about support with this new leadership in the military. I'm just interested in some of this data that we've just got, looking at the actual Ukrainian trust ranking. And this is a rating group poll down between July 20th to 21st. Interesting, because if we look at the popularity of certain leadership in Ukraine, on the very top is Mrs. Zaluzhny, about 70%. We've got Fedorov at 65%. Now that went up apparently 30% in just 1 week. President Zelenskyy is on the 4th spot, and Mr. Sirski much lower. So what does that tell us also? And we've seen the protests in Ukraine during wartime. What does that tell us about democracy and how much pressure the public can actually exert on the government?
First of all, this is respected sociological company or rating group, but at the same time, I really don't believe much all these ratings. What I mean is that it's very hard to answer such questions during a war. So Ukraine is in a full-scale war. If we're speaking about any political ratings, any confidence level and so on, these questions should be asked after the war will end. And I think the answers could be completely different. But answering your question, yes, we have a political crisis now in Ukraine. We don't have legitimate Minister of Defense. We have an acting temporary one. We don't have legitimate Minister of Foreign Affairs. We have a temporary acting one. We don't have legitimate head of Secret Service from January. We don't have legitimate head of Foreign Intelligence Service. And all of this in the middle of the war. Full-scale war, huge war. And people are on the streets. People were demanding changing of commander-in-chief. Now it has happened. But also people are demanding taking back former Minister of Defense back to his office, which I doubt will happen. Zelenskyy showed once again when somebody of his team is becoming more popular and can make some competition to him, he is getting rid of such people. It happened with General Zelenskyy, former commander-in-chief, who was sacked in February 2024 and sent to London as ambassador. That had happened with former Secret Service head General Maluk, and so on. And now it has happened with the former Minister of Defense Fedorov. And it doesn't make Ukraine stronger. So I think it is a big mistake of Zelenskyy how he managed the current political situation in the country.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I think that's something that we'll continue to follow. But keeping it on politics, one more very quick question for you, Oleksiy. We know that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is going to meet his counterpart, Mr. Lavrov, in the Philippines sometime Thursday morning. I mean, just briefly, what do you think, if anything, can be achieved by those two men meeting? Any expectations from them?
The meeting already happened. They spoke for 37 minutes in Manila, Philippines. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have much hopes on this. It looks like United States are completely absorbed by Middle East. And yes, so not much hopes, unfortunately.
All right. So at the same time, as we've covered already, Ukraine continues the fight, continues the strikes, internal debate on politics, but at the same time, continue to press on. Look, thanks so much. Always a pleasure having you with us here. Thank you so much. Oleksiy Goncharenko, Ukrainian MP. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.